Good evening.
I believe that we had a slideshow.
It's coming up.
Is that mic on?
Should we be over there?
There's a switch to turn on the mic.
Yeah. Ask you guys to move back or?
We can see it.
We can see it on the screen up there? Yeah. There you go. Okay, very good.
So again, thank you very much for approving last year our opportunity, and we wanted to share some of the results with you. So our destinations for this, can you hear me? Is this on?
Yeah, it's on. You might want to put it up a little bit higher.
Okay,
There you go.
thank you. So our destinations were Paris, Avignon, Provence, Figueres, and Barcelona for this trip. We had 17 students join us and 9 adults, including the 3 of us as chaperones. For fundraising, we wanted to thank the community for helping us raise around just over $7,000 for the participants, and the different events that we were able to fundraise, approved by you and by the principal, are listed. Would you like me to read them off?
If you would like to read them off, you may.
Okay. The Art Club Winter Silent Auction, Face Painting and Zombie Run, the Donkey Basketball Tournament, middle school, high school concessions, Art Club Spring Silent Auction, middle school Art Club teaching opportunities, the Winter Silent Auction, Indian Head Credit Union serving at a banquet for them, the Spooner Rodeo Block Party, we got to serve food for them, the elementary concert, we got to serve food for their choir concerts as well, some yard work, and root beer floats for the volleyball chicken dinner.
And the $7,000 includes all that and then donations. We received a lot of donations, so that was very nice.
So after our trip, we sent out a survey to all the participants, and we sent out a survey to all of their parents to see what went well, what we can change for the next trip, anything that we really wanted to go over, or anything that we could improve on. So I just included some of the participant results.
It's moving
We
without
really
me
are not
touching
touching
it.
We're going to try again. Is there stuff before it? Okay, so what their favorite part of the trip varied by student. Pretty much all of our students love swimming in the Mediterranean in Barcelona. That was a highlight for everybody. It was on our last day, and everybody was able to just chill out and for 3 hours just swim in the Mediterranean. So that was very cool. What I liked seeing in the results is a lot of our students loved seeing the different cultures, which was the purpose of our trip. We wanted to expose them to that. So they said seeing different cultures, hearing all the different languages, seeing what everyday life was like in Spain and France. They enjoyed that. Some people said it was really hard to pick a favorite part. They loved it all. We also said if you could tell future participants about your experience, what would you say? And pretty much everybody said, I was nervous to do it, or I wasn't sure because it's a lot of money, but this was an opportunity that they would never get again, and they loved it. For what went well, they said communicating with chaperones, well-behaved students. This is obviously a parent who responded. Some free time, flexibility in the schedule, and our schedule was driven by the participants. Our tour director each day said, okay, here is a block of time that we have available. What would you like to do during that time? And we really got to cater what our trip did according to what the students wanted, which was really nice. We had a very knowledgeable tour director who we've already talked to about doing future tours with us, which he was excited about. Our kids said that they felt comfortable being away from home with us, which was a major plus for us. One parent said, thank you for offering this to our daughter. We, along the trip, I'm going to kind of brag them up a little bit, but we had students saying they loved that they had taken photography class with Christine because they were able to really capture a lot of random moments and not just the, things that you pose for. And we had store clerks in Barcelona compliment our students on their Spanish skills. And other adults in the area too complimented on their Spanish skills, and they were like, "Your teacher is amazing," and they were like, "Oh, she's right here." So that was kind of a cool moment, just to kind of for these two to see like the fruits of their labor paying off in a foreign environment. It was pretty neat. The last couple things that were quotes that I really wanted to say, these were student quotes as well. It's important to get out and travel, or it's so important to travel and get out there, and it was nice and convenient to travel with EF. Our tour company took care of everything, and we were not responsible for things while we were out there. There was always other people with the company who were taking care of us while we were out there, and when things went wrong, they took care of it. So it was very nice to travel with that company. And we had one student who said, take in as much of it as you can, because by then you'll wish it was longer and you could stay longer. And the last one, it was worth every penny. It was one of those experiences that we talk about a lot, that we wanted to do this so we could see the looks on their faces as they experience these things, and to really go through all the different cultures. It was an incredible experience to see that with these kids and to see how they came out of it slightly different people.
Here are some of the pictures that we took around our trip. So you can see many of the different parts of the country, France and Avignon and Spain also. We were super excited about offering this opportunity to our students, and we want to continue offering opportunities to travel. And we would love to be able to go to another trip in 2020. So we would love to have the opportunity of having 2 years, so parents can, it would be easier for parents to pay for it and for kids to pay for it too. And our next trip, we would like to go to Italy, Austria, Germany, and possibly Prague. That's what we would like, to do, to have the opportunity to see other cultures and to go to other places. So if the students are able to travel at least twice in their high school career, they are able to see a lot of countries.
Does anyone have any questions for us?
So who's going to be teaching Italian and German and whatever else is spoken in those countries?
Well, Italian is super close to Spanish, so I guess kind of me, but we are focusing on the culture. When we went and did this trip to France and Barcelona, it was like, it's more than just the language, it's just so much more, and we want students to have the opportunity to see more than just 2 countries all the time that we travel. So that's what we want to expand.
Right, and it sounds like you had a wonderful time yourselves, and you would step forward again and provide a proposal to do it in 2020.
Yes.
All right, and do you know when you started to organize for this trip? What month that was 2 years ago?
I think that Sarah gave
1 year
me
ago.
permission, my first year here around December, I think we were able to bring it to the board and
All
then
right.
begin.
It's September, so
And yeah, the earlier, the more time they have to put money aside.
certainly. Okay, great.
One other thing, the trip that we're looking at right now, they figured out with cost, the monthly payments, the sooner we start, the monthly payments would be like $180 a month. So we're gonna bring up a proposal next month, hopefully, so we could get started and they can start putting the money aside.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else?
No.
Well, thank you very much for taking our students along with you. Thank
you.
Thank you. All right, the next item on our agenda is board reports, and I will do the personnel and the special meeting that we had. Personnel Committee met at 4:30 on September 10th in the Media Center. Members present were Paul Johnson and I, and me. I was there too, and along with Dr. Aslan, Mitch Ham, and Shannon Grindell. We did some discussion and action items. One was to consider creating a new position, an instructional support specialist, which we'll see tonight in one of our items. The other one was to consider covering for teachers' substitute pay, and we have forwarded that motion to, or we made a motion to forward that to the board tonight. And a third item was to consider an increase in the special ed para FTE. There's a two-part request that Mitch Ham will bring to us tonight also. And our next meeting will be as a committee of the whole, and that will be on October 1st. We'll meet in here at 5 p.m. That was respectfully submitted by Paul Johnson. He does such a good job of taking minutes for my meetings that I have. And then the other meeting that I'll report on was at 4:15 on September 4th, and it was to approve a resignation of Don Quinton, and we recognized his year of service in the middle school, and then we hired some people. We hired Karen Nelson, Denise Meister, Brian Amies, Michelle O'Connell, and Tammy Dammer. And you can see the different positions that they've taken once we approve once we approve the minutes tonight. And the next item will be, the committee will be the Budget and Buildings and Grounds Committee. Shannon, could you do that report, please?
Yep. The meeting was called to order at 5:30. Kevin and Karen were present. The other administrators present were Dr. Aslan, myself, Mitch Ham, Pete Hopke, and Dennis Schurz. The item A was tabled. I believe that was the discussion of the caboose. Item B, Sarah Hansen gave a brief review of the safety plan revisions. That was unanimously voted to move to the full board tonight. Letter C was the same presentation by Mitch regarding the additional paraprofessional time and also the 2 ELL support positions. That was voted to move to the full board as well. Item D was information provided by myself regarding the increase in lunch prices. That was moved to the full board as well. And then item E, I provided information regarding the purchase of a new plow truck. Again, moved to the full board. Item F, I provided information regarding a bid to construct a utility building to cover the entrance into the geothermal area at the soccer field. That will be voted on tonight also. And lastly, I gave a brief financial overview, just stating that the second half of the tax payments were received in August, which is always a good thing. And it's very early in the fiscal year and all finances are still on track. The meeting was adjourned at 5:56 p.m.
Right, thank you very much. Paul, would you like to do the report for the Policy Committee?
The Policy Committee met on 9/10 at the Media Center. It began promptly at 6:30. Members present were Paul Johnson, Karen Sorensen, Deb Olson, Mr. Hockey, Dr. Aslan, and Kevin King. Motion to approve the agenda. There's discussion. Action item was consider Neola policy updates, volume 27, number 2. This is a list of policies that have been recommended to us by Neola or policies that we have found that need updating. We approved that with the exception of 2271 and 2271.01. We pulled those for further discussion. We'll look at those before we bring it back to the board, but the policies that were presented with the exception of those two were approved and recommended and asked for approval tonight for the first reading. We had a discussion of committee as a whole, the structure of the committee as a whole. We worked on a template for that, and the template was sent out this week to the board members. We made some fine tuning, so it'll help our meetings go smoothly with that template. And then discussion items for the next meeting, we had none at this time, and we had a motion to adjourn at 7:01.
Thank you. And Kevin, the School and Community Relations Committee.
We met tonight at 5:47. First thing on our agenda was Homecoming Veterans Appreciation Night discussion. Things are well on track for that. I think it'll be a great night for everyone. The district will be providing 50 hats to veterans that will be coming in. And we will have an honor guard performing along with one of the members of the honor guard singing the national anthem for that. Next thing on our agenda was a discussion of the social media report card. And since we have contracted with Social EDU, here our posts have went up quite a bit. Our average weekly Facebook reach has been 5,670 with an average of one post a day. That goes back to June. As of August 27th, we've had 2,239 likes on our Facebook, and our reach has been 11,274. We have 341 Twitter followers, 398 Instagram followers, and that there. So we were ranked 5 out of 15 districts that were in this presentation. The next thing on the agenda was discussion on Strive moving forward. Strive is our mentorship program geared to high school students that are at risk of graduation. And the Lions Club has agreed to partner with our district in this. Jesse Rabati will be the point of contact for them. We will be looking for volunteers in October to November with November training and a December kickoff for this program. Then 30-60 day planning schedule. In that there we discussed the holiday concerts coming up, possibility of a big buck contest if we can find a club interested in heading this up. Spooner alumni veteran recognition in that for our Facebook. And the Jack-o'-lantern Fest there, our art club, as my understanding, will be doing face painting and helping out with the zombie run again. And we had a discussion about the school store set up for conferences and that, so that items could be purchased or purchased in advance. And that there, don't know if it'll happen with the first conference, but possibly down the road. We've got some things to iron out on that yet. Then the last thing on the agenda was legislative updates. DPI released a training module that covers mandatory reporting of threats of school violence. And Wisconsin Department of Justice released advisory fees for public record requests. And then there are new changes to the federal career technical education, formerly Perkins 5. State plans will now cover a period of 4 years instead of 6. More stakeholder groups are involved in developing of this plan, and the change requires that the allocation of resources be aligned with the results of the newly required local needs assessments from the community. That was all we had for items on the agenda. We adjourned at 6:19.
Thank you. Thank you for all those reports. The next item on the agenda, excuse me, is the community comments per Wisconsin statute 19.83 parent 2 and 19.84 parent 2. The board will allow public comments. The community comment session will be limited to 45 minutes. The time for each individual will be divided by the number of people signed up for the community comments. Oh, tonight it's blank. Oh, no, wait a minute. I missed that. All right, Tasha Hagberg, Town of Evergreen, going to address my skills grant. Come on up. Sorry, I just was teasing.
Oh, thank you guys very much. I am reporting on a very exciting opportunity that we got to partake in. And I have some of my crew here. It's a soccer night. Some of the kids couldn't be here. This past August 7th, 8th, and 9th, the state of Wisconsin had launched a new grant called My Skills, which is career exploration for middle school and high school students, and gave us about a week to create a program and submit a grant. And it was very, very rushed, and it had to be done by the end of summer, and I think we had to have it submitted by the middle of July. So it was a quick turnaround. I knew, because of my dream with my job working at SEP, what I wanted to do and what I felt was, something that was needed. I had a rough outline. I called up Shannon, I called up Dr. Aslan, and I'm like, what can we do? Can we partner on this? I have to say, I am blown away by the support that we got from the Spooner School District. They said, what do you need? And we worked it out, and we ended up with 3 days of career exploration here. And we covered, and I kid you not, because these kids know, how tired were you guys at the end of the 3 days? We covered the career fields of mechanical drafting, machining, welding, IT, healthcare. We explored nursing, imaging, pharmacy, laboratory, surgery, hospitality. We looked at management. We looked at becoming a chef. We looked at all the stuff that goes into building maintenance. They got to then tour our facilities here at the high school. So we had teachers here. So we had Mr. Linton showing us and getting the kids on drafting. We got to go and tour the welding booths. We got to look at the machining. We had Mr. Tischer here. Ms. Rudisill came in and did what? What did we get to do with her right away?
It was so fun. We got to make brownies and have a competition to see who could make it look the best.
They had to plate a dessert. So, and then we went out after spending the morning here at the school learning about these careers and learning about the opportunities that they have to explore these non-traditional classes, which are the in-demand jobs out there. And that's really what we're trying to highlight is where are the high-paying jobs that are available tomorrow. Do you guys remember what they said at Nexon? If you walked in the door.
They had a good attitude and at a college, or no, a high school.
No, 2-year degree.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
two-year degree, then you could get a job there.
How much?
Right on the spot.
Do you guys remember how much she said?
A lot.
How much was it? $50,000 a year to start. 2-year machining degree. So this is what they were really out there learning. The teachers were amazing. Mrs. Tischer with the Facebook posts was amazing in helping us market this. It was a true partnership all the way, which I can't express enough. The teachers came in. I didn't want to take up a lot of time to throw something haphazard at them. They came in. They were amazing at working with a structure that we loosely framed in an email. That was, and we planned our lessons this way. There's things that we would change a little bit, especially based on student feedback. But we got to then tour Spooner Health System. You guys help me remember. Where else did we tour?
We went to Nexon.
Nexon.
And we went to
Rice Lake Weighing System.
Link Ford, Lincoln.
Link Ford. We looked at their automobile. Auto. I got that one on here. And Hartwood Conference Center. Nope, that was it. We had the 5. And we did IT at all of them. So I'm going to let the kids introduce themselves and just kind of tell you what their favorite part is. What their favorite part is. Sorry about that.
And have them speak in the mic.
Yes,
too, thanks.
you guys speak in the mic here. I'll let you guys go first. Ladies first.
My name is Justine Swanson, and I thought it was a really cool experience because I always had a really good idea of what I wanted to be when I got older. But then after going and seeing all these places, I changed my whole idea, and it was just really fun to be a part of and learn.
Hi, my name is Charlotte McCone. I thought the same as her. I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to be, and when we went to the healthcare area, it was really fun, and I realized that I didn't really want to do what I wanted to do before. That's really it. I would do it next year again. That'd be fun.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Maverick Swanson, and same with them basically. I wanted to be a fighter pilot, but when I went to the Rice Lake weighing station, and they told me about welding and it changed what I thought, and I wanted to be a underwater welder now.
And I know why. What's the salary for an underwater welder?
Make a lot of money.
Exactly, a lot of money.
I'm Dane McCone, and basically the same as them. I had a good idea of what I wanted to do, but then going to the class changed my perspective on that, and now I don't know. I have a good idea of what I want to do now.
Great. Just a second, Shannon, you were involved in this, it seems, with Tasha. Are there any other points that you would like to hit with this?
As Tasha said, it was a quick turnaround, but we worked really well together to pull it all together for those August dates. We had great teachers that were more than willing to put in their time. I believe Tasha's son put in some time as well and
He
helped.
wasn't able to make
Oh,
it.
he wasn't
We
able
were
to.
gonna have Billy come in because Billy had won some awards for his drafting and talk, but the kids got to see some of the designs that he made in his 3D models in the class, so.
Yeah. And we're looking forward to partnering again next year.
Yes, we really hope that this is going to be something that the state will continue. Any way that you, as a board, as a school district, get an opportunity to do career exploration with students. The reason that we designed it this way, we were the only one in the state where we had the kids experience things that maybe were not ones that they were thinking about. So I actually mixed up and made sure healthcare was on the same day as a manufacturing, because I didn't want people to show up and go, well, I don't want to be a manufacturer. Even if you don't want to, I wanted them to experience it and understand it, because we have so many amazing businesses and industries around here. And getting in and seeing that, I will never forget her face when she got on the computers. You remember the 3D drafting? I am so taking this class. You know, and without kind of being thrown into it, and I'm sure their mothers probably forced them to come to this class a little bit in the middle of summer for 3 days. But without this, they would never know. And so any opportunities, even if it's not through me, that the school district gets to give kids a broad understanding. I know so many times we do tours for the school, you know, like we'll say, who wants to sign up for this tour? And it tends to be the kids that already know that they want to do it. It's so great to try to urge kids who don't have a clue that that's what they want to do to get out there and try something new. Because, yeah, I think everybody wanted to be in the medical field going into this because they know that. Now it's kind of like, okay, the world is now opening up to them. If we can do it next year, I'm going to try to look for different businesses, you know, and really expand it out. But the businesses that were great, the school district, I have to commend you. Best partnership ever. My organization was completely blown away by the amount of support we had here in the school district on last minute grant writing. And then our businesses were amazing. And I have to say, these students, we worked hard for 3 days. And there's things that I think it got a little long and boring in some parts, but we know now. And the teachers, I think, know and have ideas if we do this again. So again, we're here to just say thank you. So you guys, please say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Tasha.
We'll move on to our discussion and action items now. Item A is personnel recommendations.
You have two hiring recommendations before you this evening. Angela Buckman, elementary special ed paraprofessional, replacing Michael Quinton. And Sadie Foss, elementary special ed paraprofessional, replacing Sonia Hagel, both recommended by Mr. Ham.
I'll entertain a motion to approve these hirings.
I'll make a motion to approve the hirings.
Second.
Right, motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda is the acceptance of donations.
Okay, a number of donations this evening. You have a donation from summer school swimming, a parent volunteer donated to student scholarship to help pay summer school supplies for children in need, $20. You have a donation from Compeer Financial to the Spooner Area School District, backpacks and school supplies for open house, approximate value of $500. You have a donation from the United Methodist Women's Club to the Spooner Health Office, $77 to purchase needed supplies. Donation from the Shopko Education Foundation to the middle school Phi-Ed program, $900. A donation from Jesse Pelote to the Spooner Middle School Phi-Ed program, a mountain bike and helmets valued at $300. Donation from Shar Headland to the Spooner Middle School Phi-Ed program, 2 mountain bikes and bike accessories valued at $450 from the Spooner Wesleyan Church to the Spooner Health Office, $100 to purchase needed supplies, and a donation from Darlene Jackson for the benefit of negative meal accounts, value of $1,000.
Is there a motion to approve donations as presented?
I make that motion.
I'll second that, and thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Let's vote on that. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the fundraiser request.
So we have a fundraiser request in front of you this evening. Coming in from the Spooner High School Art Club, seeking to host silent auction during the winter and/or spring band and/or choir concerts to purchase supplies for the creation of individual artworks for club members, to purchase flowers for veterans at Spooner High School Veterans Day program, for scholarships for art members who are either majoring or minoring in an art-related field, and a field trip for art club members where they will experience a volunteering portion and visiting a museum or live theater event, and they have earned close to $1,000 from similar efforts in the past.
Is there a motion to approve the fundraising by the art club?
I'll make a motion to approve the fundraising request by the art club.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, there are no facility use requests tonight, so we'll move on to E, consider safety plan revisions. Sarah, are you going to present?
I sure can.
All right.
I should.
You may.
Okay. I know you have the information in board docs in your packet. So what was provided in there is the plan that is currently approved, which is the shorter version, and the much longer version is what is brought before you for approval. And there is one sheet that just goes through and lists what the changes are. Some are new additions, some are just updated to kind of just for your reference as you go through and look at them. So hopefully you've had time to look at through them. And just to quickly kind of list what's there, a new addition is just the acknowledgement page. And then some of the appendices we just kind of shortened so that it wasn't so long. But we do have the full appendices for use and separate. So the buddy list has been updated with, that's classrooms helping each other out in case of an emergency. The communication log is a new addition. The critical incident is a new addition. Evacuation site agreements have been updated, and that was something that Carol Buck, County Emergency Manager, has suggested that we include. Family reunification form, same thing, new addition. Incident accident report, this has been updated. This is just something that the school nurse uses, and it's just a new form, so we wanted to update that. Memorandum of understanding, another thing that Carol Buck has asked us to include. Vulnerability assessment has been updated with some new things like the threat assessment, which is something that you've already approved, but just to make that all current. The resource inventory is new, and that's just a survey that we send out to staff to see what abilities are out there that we may not be aware of. And then the threat assessment matrix, that's new, but you've already approved that. For the functional responses, there's a few new ones, and the bloodborne pathogen is one that was, we had actually somebody from the county come in to make sure, just kind of did a safety assessment of the school and had some recommendations, making sure that we were OSHA approved and that sort of thing. And she said that the bloodborne pathogen should be included in the safety plan, and it wasn't before then, so Sarah Hamilton and I worked together to make sure that that got updated and that we did include that there. Communication process, again, this is another one that you already approved with the threat assessment. That's new. The radio protocol, we worked with Mr. Miller on this to make sure that there's just some standard things that people are, that they know how to use, like the walkie-talkie system and what to say and what not to say, how to change the channels on them, that sort of thing. So that's new. And then again, the threat of violence that has already been approved. Other ones that were updated just to, you know, as we've gone through the plan for the past couple years, safety team kind of sat and discussed what works and what doesn't work. So we just have some updates that we believe will improve the plan. So that's dealing with Alice, drop, cover, and hold, evacuation, and family reunification. And then for crisis response plan, we have some new ones. And again, a couple of these were based on when Brianna from the county came in working with ocean stuff. So chemical spill is one that's new. Communicable disease is another one. And then communication failure, again, this is one that we worked with Mr. Miller on at the tech department, just because that is something that could happen. We didn't have a plan in place for that. And then student fight has been another one that's been added. And then we just put a placeholder in for the Head Start safety plan. We're kind of working on that right now, but right now it's just kind of an empty page where we want it to go. So that's something that we'll see hopefully in the near future. And then just some safety data briefs that are included at the end, again, from the county, just some suggestions that we have a chemical inventory log. We have some clay in the art room that we just needed to have a safety brief on for that. And then the Roku kiln, which also is in the art room. So those are the things that we've been working on, and we'd like to ask for you to approve so that we could get that in print and in the hands of those that need it. Any questions?
I just made it down to the bottom as you finished that. Good. Wow, nice report. Are there any, well, let's get a, are there any questions of Sarah first? All right, so let's entertain a motion to approve the safety plan revisions as written.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
All right, now, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you for all that work on that, Sarah. It's a very long document, 91 pages or so, maybe 90. All right, the next item on the agenda is to discuss the committee of the whole structure. Paul?
I will, I'm looking forward to the committee of the whole starting next in 2 weeks. What we did is we sat down and worked on the structure, and we tried to keep the structure not as strict as what we were doing during a business meeting. We want it to be more of an open format where board members can ask questions. We don't have to necessarily agree, just ask the question. That's why we are here, to ask those questions. But we had a template put together, and what we've done is we've taken, as tonight we had a presentation, we're taking all the presentations from the business meeting, putting them on the committee as a whole structure, and we will put them at the beginning of our meeting. So any groups, or if they're planning trips or anything coming in, would be done in this room. It would still be streamed, but it wouldn't be during the business meeting. It would be done during the board as a whole. The format would be the same order that we are currently having our board meetings. So each committee would still have the 3 people on their committee. You will still do your presentation, but the discussion contains everybody now. So it'll go much quicker than the downtime in between, and hopefully we can keep everyone there and everybody will be informed. The public will be recognized if they have something they wish to discuss at that time of the topic. We had the discussion about should there be public comment, and the issue with the public comment was really that until it's been presented, there's really no point in going with public comment because people haven't been informed. At least let them come to the committee meeting, be informed. If they want to come back to the business meeting, make their public comment. Or if there's somebody that's there at the committee that wants to be recognized, just like we do here, we can recognize somebody to speak. I didn't want it to get too structured with too many rules because we're gonna work our way through it, and at the end of the 6 months, if we sit down and say, what did we like, what didn't we like, we'll talk about it then. The other thing we also did was, the very last item on the agenda is discussion as to how the meeting went, today's meeting or the meeting that we just had. Was there something we liked about it? Was there something that didn't go that we should change next time around? So that we, later on, after we do this for a period of meetings, we can sit back and say, each meeting we seem to have the same comments. So there's certain things that are a priority that are going really well. There's certain things that are not going well. Other than that, I've reached out to the newspaper and asked if we could get some article in the paper informing the public as to what's going on. Hopefully it'll get into next week's paper, and hopefully it would go in the week prior to our Monday meeting. So I guess that's all I have to say.
All right, I do like that last item to kind of reflect upon what how the meeting went and how it works each month, because that way we'll know, we can learn, and we can learn from comments, and we can learn from our own discoveries, and hopefully it will be very much of a success. Thank you. Any other questions about that? Simply a discussion item. The next item on the agenda is to consider the first reading of Neola Policy Update, Volume 27, Number 2. There are a number of policies on here, and you can look on your board docs and see what they all are. I see, I can't even count them. I read them all today. I went through all of them. Is there a motion to approve Neola Policy Update, Volume 27, Number 2?
I'll make that motion.
And I will second that. Is there any discussion? I trust that you've all had an opportunity to see them. Many of them were just minor fixes on a couple of words, change it from something Board of Education to board or something like that. And then there were some other changes, and these are the ones that we approved at that policy committee meeting. So all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Karen?
Yes.
We needed to make sure that we, with the exception of those two.
Those two are not listed
Okay,
here.
perfect. Good.
So
That's what I
as
needed to
written.
know. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is item I, which is to consider creating a new position, instructional support specialist.
This item was presented to the Personnel Committee last month, and we had some classified staff. This is probably about the third month that we've talked about this. We've had some classified staff come forward asking the board to consider adding a new title within the classified staff wage table. That title would be Instructional Support Specialist. It would go in between special education paraprofessional and also regular education paraprofessional. The Personnel Committee had some questions last month, such as what was the total cost for moving the qualified staff members in the current position with a new title, and that cost would be $663. So we're just looking for recommendation to create that new position on the compensation table for classified staff.
All right, so I'm looking for a recommendation from the Wage and Compensation Task Force. As was stated, the new position would be it would be named Instructional Support Specialist.
Correct.
Yes, thank you. Would somebody like to make that motion? I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item, oh, I'm sorry, we need to have a roll call vote on that one, please. Okay, thank you.
Aaron Birch, Deb Olson,
Yes.
Nathaniel Melton,
Yes.
Robert Holman,
Yes.
Karen Sorensen,
Yes.
Kevin King,
Yes.
Paul Johnson.
Yes.
All right, there you go. I even had it marked in pink and I still forgot, so good that I had this marked. The next item, it'll all work out, Dr. Aslan.
Yes.
All right, the next item is to consider the second reading of policy 8315, information to hold.
This was the policy we brought up last month. It says policy number 8315. What it is it's a policy that sets in place once we've been notified that there's litigation involved in somebody, whether it's us or a third party. It just puts us on notice and allows our staff to know that you need to preserve all these documents related to this one topic. And this will be the second reading. I've heard no comments or requests for changes from the first reading, so I'll ask that the second reading be approved.
And I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none? Let's have a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next couple of items the next three items we'll have a roll call vote, just so that you know. Item K is to consider the 2018-19 lunch prices.
Each year, DPI requires us to analyze the current lunch prices that we have, and determines whether or not there should be an increase. And this year, it has been determined that there should be a 10% increase for lunch prices for grades K through 12. So K5, old price was $2.55, it would go to $2.65. 6-8, current price is $2.80, it would go to $2.90, and 9-12, current price is $2.90, and it would go to $3.
I'll entertain a motion for these increase in lunch prices.
I'll make a motion to accept the increase in lunch prices.
I'll second the motion. Just to clarify, that's 10 cents.
10
10
cents.
cents.
Not 10%.
Yep.
Did I say 10%?
You did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
10 cents
10 cents.
increase.
Correct.
Thank you.
So the increase is 10 cents on each of those three different areas. 10%, we would have turned that down right now. All right, so any discussion at all?
I have a question. What was it what do we normally increase on a yearly basis, or is it every year?
It's every year, and DPI caps it at 10 cents. So it's typically 10 cents every year in order to keep up with the increasing cost of food.
Because I did not, we do a lot every year, and I did not recall that, so thank you for advising us. Thank you.
So hearing no other questions, we will have a roll call vote.
Aaron Birch, Deb Olson,
Yes.
Nathaniel Melton,
Yes.
Robert Foley,
Yes.
Karen Sorensen,
Yes.
Kevin King,
Yes.
Paul Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda is item L, consider a snowplow truck contract for 2018-19.
We're at the time of year where we're starting to look at, we're starting to think about the snow falling, and one of the items that we need to purchase for 18-19 is a new truck with a plow, i.e. Snowplow truck. In the budget, it has been entered in the amount of $25,000. So tonight, we're just looking for the board to approve a purchase up to $25,000 for a snowplow truck.
So you're not talking about a new truck, it would be new to us truck.
If we could get a new truck with municipal discounts, it could be a new truck, or it would be a new truck to us, depending on fitting into that $25,000 budget.
All right, thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, motion is made and seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Roll call vote.
Aaron Birch, Deb Olson,
Yes.
Nathaniel Melton,
Yes.
Robert Foley,
Yes. Yes.
Karen Sorensen,
Yes.
Kevin King,
Yes.
Paul Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Item M is to consider utility building construction entrance for geothermal area.
I believe we discussed the need to construct a outbuilding to go over the entrance hole for the geothermal unit on the soccer field, and we put it out to bid. We received one bid, and we're looking for the approval to move forward with that bid in the amount of $12,500 for a local vendor. And once we get that approval, we will start on October 10th, which is a Monday. We've changed around the schedule due to some events that are happening on the field, so we delayed it a couple weeks.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve.
I'll second that.
billing.
There's been a motion and a second. Are there any comments or discussion? Hearing none? Roll call vote.
Aaron Birch, Deb Olson,
Yes.
Nathaniel Melton,
Yes.
Robert Foley,
Yes.
Karen Sorensen,
Yes.
Kevin King,
Yes.
Paul Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Item N is to consider teachers covering teachers' substitute pay.
This was the last item that came out of the wage compensation task force for the certified staff. And what they're looking for is compensation for when they have to give up a prep period to cover another teacher's class. If the teacher doesn't have to leave for a half day or full day, sometimes they step in, multiple teachers step in to cover those. It looks a little different at each building. At the elementary school, it could look as if a teacher isn't going to be there all day, and then that class gets split amongst the other teachers in that same grade level. So the payout would look a little bit differently depending on what building you're in. Ultimately, we're asking for approval at $25 an hour. It would be for qualifying payment for the covering certified staff members who would be giving up a prep period for the coverage up to the length of a student day, meaning that we're not going to pay any extra for prepping, class prep or anything like that. It would just be confined to the student day.
So I'm looking for a motion to approve the recommendation from the Wage Compensation Task Force for compensation when a certified staff member provides coverage for another certified staff member. And I just made that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Are you okay with that? All right, very good. Is there any discussion? Hearing none? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion. Oh, anybody opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And the last item on the agenda tonight is to consider the increase in para FTE. Mitch?
Okay, you have some information in your board packets. I'll summarize some of that information for you, but basically in a nutshell, we have more kids that have moved into the district in the area of special ed than kids that are going out of the district. When I presented to the personnel committee last week, we had 13 coming in and 10 going out. Those numbers today are up to 17 coming in and 10 going out. So that's a good thing for the district because our enrollment is coming up, and with that comes revenue on those kids. The tricky part for us is we schedule in the spring based on what is on our students' IEPs and what their support needs are. So we're in a situation where we need some additional support to cover those kids' needs. It's not always a one-for-one also. We may have a student that comes in that has a lot of needs and a student that goes out that has very little. And it seems to be that this year that's kind of one of those situations that happened. Additionally, I've talked in the past that our numbers do grow out throughout the school year because we do have referrals coming into from birth to 3, and then we'll also generally have a few kids identified within our district for special education needs. So what I'm asking for is you approve 2 positions tonight, which filled positions that were currently open. In addition to that, we have a need for 12.75 hours. I'm going to ask for up to 12.7 hours because we will not use that if we don't need it. We're still sorting through some of the new kids' needs, meeting with parents, meeting with IEP teams, and trying to determine specifically what those needs are. So I would like to request 12 3/4 hours additional time with the understanding that if we don't need it, we wouldn't hire those positions. A couple things, budget considerations that I have on there. These situations qualify for transfer of service, and to try to keep it simple and explain transfer of service, when you have students moving into your district with more needs than moving out, and it causes an increase in cost for the district, we can apply for transfer of service funds. And if approved by DPI, it gives us the opportunity to levy in the local community those additional dollars that it cost us. So last year I came to you at this time, we had some additional needs on our numbers that grew. I was able to apply for transfer of service, and when that comes through, that will give us the ability to be able to levy those extra dollars. The other thing I think that's important is a lot of the services that these paraprofessionals would provide would be Medicaid billable, and we would get reimbursed for some of those services through Medicaid, which would help offset those costs as well. In addition to the paraprofessional support for special education, you also have on the bottom of that document kind of a unique situation for us. We have some experience in the district, but not a lot, with English language learners. We have 2 students that moved into the district that are Spanish-speaking students, one at the middle school and one at the high school. What we did is ask Kim Fransden, she's the Barron County District English Language Learner Coordinator. They have about 100 Somali students down there, so they have a position designated to working with those kids. She came in and assessed our 2 students last week on September 11th and 12th, and I have her recommendations there for supporting those students in our district. To summarize those, we'd be looking for 1 position for 5 hours, one of the students needs additional support as far as paraprofessional support goes. The other one we do not believe needs paraprofessional support. We can meet her needs without. We would also ask for contracted services with Kim Fransden for the school year for a maximum of 60 hours to prepare instructional materials to be used with these students and to work with staff, and an additional up to $750 for instructional materials and assistive technologies to help support these students. These costs are not something that we can take out of special education funds, so it would have to come out of the district budget.
Mitch, do you need us to approve these two different requests separately? Or can they
I
be?
think you could approve the proposal as recommended.
Okay. So it's been indicated that we can approve this proposal, this entire proposal as recommended. So let's have a motion to approve this proposal.
I'll make a motion to approve it for the sake of discussion.
Increase in a para FTE. Is there a second?
I will second it.
All right, is there any
for
discussion?
The question I'm gonna ask will be budget related. The second part of this is not special ed related, so therefore we're not going to be able to recover those costs. Normally when we do a hire, we see on the paper what it's going to be, but now we're going to enter into contract services with this individual. Reference to the second part, what is the financial impact to our district going to be for this topic?
Do you want me to take it?
If you could speak to that,
Yep.
Shannon, that'd be great.
You know, we weren't able to put a dollar amount for Kim Franson's contracted services at the time because we didn't have, you know, we're contracting with another school district right now. They're doing us a favor by allowing her to come in, and we didn't have a cost to that. No doubt it's not probably going to be cheap, but we don't have a choice. We have to provide these services to these students, so we have to reallocate budgeted dollars in order to cover the cost of this. As soon as I have a dollar amount, I can certainly share that with the board, but at this time, we don't have a dollar amount.
In all likelihood, it'll be a handful of $1,000.
You're saying that we're required to do this, and Kim is the nearest person that could provide this service for us.
And again, the maximum that we would ask for would be 60 hours. If we didn't need that, we wouldn't hire her for 60 hours.
I'm seeing it says one part-time general school aid position at .5, then we're going to do the 60 hours in addition to that?
Yes, because that paraprofessional position would work with that student on a day-to-day basis
Do we
and
currently
help
have that
support.
person? Do we have that person on staff right now?
No, that position would have to be posted. We need your approval to be able to do that before we can post that position.
Okay.
So if we approve this tonight, then you will post it.
Correct.
Right. So totally, you're asking for 12 and a half, 17 and a half, for the two different items, it'd be 17.75 hours?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yep.
All right.
Up to.
Up to. All right. Very good. Is there any other discussion? Let's have a roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Motion carries unanimously. I only have one thing left on my agenda tonight, and that would be item 6, to adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is done. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, everybody.
No,
I will.
I would have been any later. I'm not.
I have it on my legs, and Melissa had no record every time. I probably had it on my hands. I got to see half the football game, so that was nice. It's pretty miserable.
Did Ruth get a hold of you?
One pretty good.
We were talking.
All right, thank you, man. We did all right, huh?
Not the Monday night.
Small, we had
I could probably still make that.
we ended up buying a bunch of like educational books for like elementary.